What's up, Barnhill family? Welcome back to the channel.
Yo, yo.
So, Nick, admittedly, there was a name that I did not know before this Tokyo Olympics happened, and that was Gable Steveson. He is all the craze right now, and I went back and watched his fights at the Olympics. He literally won the gold medal in the last second, and I don't mean that as hyperbole. It was literally the last second of the fight that he was able to score enough points to win. I believe the final score was 9-8. The U.S. did extremely well in wrestling, lots of golds, lots of medals in general. But what's very interesting is Gable Steveson had a lot of shine on him, and he used that opportunity to take advantage of segueing into his MMA career, if you will. He basically said, look, Dana White, give me a call. I'm 21 years old. I just won the gold medal at heavyweight in Tokyo. And 18 months from now, I'm going to be the UFC champion. Now, I personally don't believe that it's going to be 18 months from now. But what he has going for him is he's only 21 years old. So even if it's triple his timeline, you're only talking about mid-20s before he could be fighting in the UFC and potentially challenging for a belt. But if Daniel Cormier is any indication, this kid certainly has the recipe to become a UFC champion if he goes that route. And Jon Jones is already telling him, hey, pack your bags and move on out to Albuquerque.
Yeah, that would be a really great place for him to go. You know, Jon Jones obviously knows a ton about wrestling, but there's levels to it when you're talking about an Olympic champion in the heavyweight division. That's just literally the pinnacle of wrestling. He's at 21 years old, so young for the heavyweight division. So, like, you know, he's putting a early timeline on his own career, which I think is a smart idea because it can kind of amplify how the UFC, pushes you. But even if he does take 5 years or so, he's still really young for the heavyweight division. Looks like a monster. If he can learn how to strike and cover up a little bit, he can be a real problem for a lot of people. And if you've got people like Jon Jones willing to help you, asking for you to come out and live with them and train with them, you're going to be winding up in the right place. Just don't hang out with Jon too much outside of the octagon or outside of the gym, and you should be just fine. But yeah, I think the U.S. Olympic team did great in all sports. We won the most medals, but the wrestling team really showed out and performed really well. I think only not getting one gold medal, so they really tore it up. And I guess the king of the division, or the king of the Olympic team, is Gable Steveson, because he's the heavyweight, and now he's kind of pushing forward. You know, this is kind of like the video we just talked about, where you got a guy he's eager to compete still after the Olympics, but maybe he wants to try something a little bit different. MMA is a good place for him. I could see him going over and doing some really cool grappling stuff in the meanwhile, while he gets his feet wet and competing in things that are other than just pure wrestling. But I think an extensive unarmed combat career for Gable Steveson is really something that the world would love to see. And I think that he would bring a lot of eyes after winning that big gold medal at the Olympics.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, in Henry Cejudo, he's the triple champ, and Gable probably won't have the opportunity to do that because he's so big, unless the UFC creates a super heavyweight division, which I don't think is in the cards. He is a big fella. But if you said to me, if Gable Stevens sets his sights on becoming the UFC champion, will he attain that goal? Unequivocally, yes. He's 21 years old, and he's got the best grappling foundation that you can have for MMA right now, which is really good wrestling. And that seems to be, especially at the heavier divisions, being an extraordinarily good wrestler is very, very important. And it's probably what would be the recipe to beat somebody like a Francis or like a Cyril Gane. Now, he's a long way away from being able to fight those guys, because he would likely get knocked out if he were to jump in there with them right now. So he's got going there to Jackson Wink and training with Jon, kind of being a training partner. And then, the Winklejohn, there's a whole team there really kind of developing his striking and his ground and pound game, and using the wrestling positions and takedowns to advance position, and showing him where to strike and how to finish from there, is, I think, would be a really lethal combination. And so I do think, yes, he can be the UFC champion. It's not going to be 18 months from now. It's going to be a little bit more time than that. He's going to need time to develop and come on. A lot of people, when you reach the pinnacle of a certain sport, and Joe Rogan was actually just talking about this when he had Hicks and Gracie on his podcast, that, you know, when he got to such a high level at Taekwondo, at Muay Thai, at boxing, that you almost don't want to believe that you're so green and such a beginner in another facet of martial arts. And he said, but when I went to my first jiu-jitsu class, this guy really just kicked my ass. And I was like, my gosh, what's happening? Like, I'm a high level, like, world-class fighter in these other disciplines, and I can't even like do one thing right in jiu-jitsu. And so, you know, same for striking. Gable would probably do just fine on the jiu-jitsu mat, you know, the wrestling mat for sure. But if he got in there with a heavyweight boxer, I think he might realize just how much work needs to be done. But the good thing for him is he's got all the time in the world to do it. At heavyweight, he literally could peak, have his absolute prime start a decade from now.
Yeah, and he would do just fine, you know, waiting till he's about 31 to really start to go. But I mean, you know, when you have a driven guy like that, he's going to move forward with this. And if I was him, I wouldn't put any stress on it. I don't know if he wants to do any more competing in, you know, in the worlds or anything like that before he makes the full dive over into MMA. But it would be cool to see him, you know, shop around these elite schools all around the world. Really, you could go check out the places in Thailand if you wanted to see some striking over there. Go down to South Florida, meet up with all those really good schools over there. Albuquerque, aka, I'm sure they would welcome him with open arms because of the heavy wrestling, and DC. I'm sure they're really good friends. So there's a lot of good places. He has to go find what works best for him. I'm not sure where he's located personally, like where his house is. But find something, maybe if it's not there, find some place that you would like to become your home, or find a team that you would like to create and turn into your family. Let those guys kind of take you under their wing. Understand that, yes, you are the best on the planet at what you do, but there's a lot of people that can really help you that have been doing this thing that's a totally different thing for a very long time. They'd love to see you succeed. So, the mindset of an Olympic gold medalist is bulletproof, and
Yeah.
he's going to be a great student. He's going to be a great learner, obviously shown us over the 21 years of his life that he's willing to learn. He's willing to put in time. He's dedicated, disciplined, and is ready to sacrifice whatever it takes. And he just spoke something into the universe. He wants to become the UFC's heavyweight champion in 18 months. And it's a scary thing when somebody like that is driven towards a goal like that, because it'll likely happen when they speak it into the universe. So I'm excited to see what happens with this. It's cool to see somebody utilize and segue their career right on the biggest stage in all of sports. You know, you've got the Olympics. Now you've got your moment to shine, your few seconds to shine. And he shined, and he called Dana White. He made the right call. The biggest promoter who's always willing to put really interesting people and sacrificing people that are willing to sacrifice on his roster. So Gable Steveson did a great job with this call out, with this request to move into MMA, and I can't wait to see what he does with it starting out.
Me either. And I like what you said about shopping around gyms. I know he wrestles for Minnesota, but I don't know exactly where he's from. Admittedly, I didn't know even who he was before the Olympics, but that's one of the beautiful things about the Olympics sometimes is stars emerge and people that you never even expected become household names. So yeah. I think I'm very excited to see his MMA career develop if that is in fact the route he goes, which I think it should be. I think that offers the best opportunity for him. So we'll see how that develops. But yeah, I'm very excited for this young man's future.
Me too. Yeah. If he gets in there with Brock Lesnar's protege, maybe we might get to see a student teacher fight card, or maybe we'll see Brock Lesnar in his corner or something. That would be pretty cool. It would be an interesting side piece to a very interesting and very highly anticipated Octagon debut.
Yeah, that would be cool. I didn't even think about that, but Brock Lesnar in the corner will always draw attention.
Absolutely.
Well, guys, thanks so much for watching this video. If you've enjoyed the content, we appreciate a like, comment, and subscribe. And let us know, do you guys think Gable Steveson will one day be the UFC champion? He certainly seems to have all the tools. He's definitely the right age, and he certainly has the right work ethic. So drop us a line and let us know. And until the next video, guys, we hope you have a wonderful day.
Peace.